You ever walk into a place and just know, deep down, you don't belong, not because you're not supposed to be there, but because the room has already decided what you're worth, who you are, what your story is before you've even said a word? That's exactly how my morning started, standing in the lobby of a building with my name on more paperwork than most of those folks could ever dream of. The receptionist didn't even glance up, just fired off a cold. You can't stand there. Executives only. You know what I mean? The way some people look straight through you, like you're just static in the background, something to be ignored or managed, not listened to. So I just stood there for a second, silent, looking at the walls, the shiny chrome, the marble desk, and the woman behind, ether face glued to a tablet. Her mind already decided I was out of place. I wore a white suit I'd saved for years just for moments like this. No name tag, no announcement, no entourage trailing behind. I wasn't there to make a scene, but the thing about truth is sometimes it just walks in the front door and sits down uninvited. I built this place 10 years ago when it was nothing but a mess of broken promises and bad credit. I came in with a pitch deck and stubborn hope, while everyone else was too busy playing politics to see the bigger game. I made the hard calls, restructured departments, signed deals that kept the lights on, and turned a sinking ship into something that could actually make waves. But here's the twist no one talks about. The higher I climbed, the more invisible I became to the people who should have known better, not because I was quiet, but because I was a black woman in a space designed for anyone but me. I heard the whispers how I was just a diversity hire, how I didn't act like a CEO. But I didn't need to act. I just did the work, let the numbers speak for themselves, and move pieces around the board like I was born to do it. Still, I started to sense a rot spreading below the surface: emails, quiet complaints, turnover in departments that never made sense. And today, I decided to test it myself. Not with another memo, not with some dramatic entrance, just by showing up quietly and watching what happened. So I watched as the receptionist, Becky, her badge Reed kept pushing. VIP only, ma'am. I'll have to call security. Folks passing by smirked, maybe even enjoyed the show a little. But I didn't flinch. I just reached into my purse, pulled up an app that nobody else had, and tapped a button that started a countdown across the entire building. Emergency board meeting, 9th floor, right now. Phones started buzzing. People started moving like a ripple, turning into a tidal wave. But Becky, she was still out of the loop. Ma'am, I'm serious, she said, louder now, trying to make a scene. That's when I stepped forward and pressed my thumb to the elevator's biometric panel. The doors slid open, and Becky's face, well, let's just say the world turned upside down for her in that moment. Wait, how did you? She stammered. I turned, looked her in the eye, and said, next time, ask before you assume. Then I left her and all her assumptions in the lobby. Upstairs, the chaos was already building, executives whispering, phones buzzing, everyone scrambling to figure out what was going on. I walked in, calm as ever, to a room full of people who spent years pretending I was invisible. The kind of folks who thought power only looked one way. Not today. I didn't waste time with small talk. I dropped my bag, clicked the remote, and brought up a screen. No numbers, no charts, just months of real, hard evidence. My IT team, bless them, had been gathering receipts, emails, audio, video moments when a mask slipped and people showed who they really were. Like the VP who laughed, let's not hire another diversity project, or the executive who blocked a woman's promotion because she doesn't fit the culture. Even Becky at reception, mocking women like me as if ambition had a dress code. The room went silent. Nobody moved. Nobody said a word. I didn't need to raise my voice. Real power doesn't shout. It just moves quietly like a storm rolling in. And the best part? Thanks to a clause I tucked into our charter years ago, one I never had to use until now, I had the authority to clean house without anyone else's permission. I opened a black folder, flipped through a stack of termination letters, and started reading names. Robert Langston, head of finance, terminated, effective immediately. Karen Wells, human resources, terminated. James Rutledge, operations, terminated. One after another, security came in, silent, professional, handing out boxes and collecting badges. No screaming, no arguing, just a reckoning. one overdue by years. You could see in their faces a moment when they realized the woman they'd ignored, the one they'd talked over, was the very person holding the keys to everything. They tried to plead, to explain, but I didn't let them. "You had months to fix this," I said, "and you wasted every second." The screen flipped to hidden camera footage, hallway outside HR. Two men joking about a candidate's name. "Shanique? Sounds like she'd be better off at a call center." Next clip, Becky, turning away another black woman from the front door. "Sorry, interviews are over," she lied, even though the invite was in her inbox. Then the emails. "Let's not overcorrect on diversity. Too many loud voices. She doesn't fit the executive look." Just rolling, one after another, across the screen. There was one last recording audio from a private meeting, a VP saying, "If Vanessa ever pulls rank, just remind her she's here for the headline." Another voice, "Yeah, you get the idea." I didn't have to say a word. The evidence spoke for itself. By the time I finished handing out those letters, half the boardroom was empty. Security never had to say a word, just, "This way, please." No drama, no shouting, just closure. And for the first time in a long time, I sat at the head of that glass table and said, "Now let's rebuild this company the right way." But this story wasn't just about punishing the ones who got caught. Downstairs in the lobby, the gossip was flying. Becky watched her screen as a notification popped up. "Vanessa Moore assumes emergency control of executive operations." She froze. And when those elevator doors opened again, there I was, walking out head high, surrounded by board members who'd backed the old order just hours before. Becky tried to apologize, her voice shaking. "MS. Moore didn't realize." I stopped right in front of her, looked her in the eye, no anger, no smugness, just the calm of someone who's seen this story play out 1,000 times. "You didn't ask," I said. "You assumed, and you acted on that assumption." Her eyes welled up. "I didn't mean to," she tried. I shook my head, "But you did. And it's not about meaning to. It's about what you do now." Then I handed her an envelope, not a pink slip, but a spot in a new program I started for equity and advancement. "Growth matters more than guilt," I told her. "What you do after this is what counts." And that's how it ends, right? Or maybe how it begins. In a room where no one thought I belonged. I took back every inch they tried to keep from me, and instead of burning it all down, I started something new. Now, you tell me, where do you draw the line between justice and mercy? When is it right to let someone grow, and when do you finally show them the door? I want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts below. Was I right to give Becky a second chance? Or should the rules be the same for everyone? No exceptions? Let's talk about justice, about leadership, about what real power looks like when nobody's watching.